Today is September 11th, and it was 20 years ago today that the terrorist attack happened that rocked the country. It was a shocking event that pulled the country together, with so many people doing everything they could just to help out the families of those lost in the blast.
And it changed lives here in Reno for some people who weren't even there, but who felt the need to help, and they found a way. Debbie Bulantini led the charge and created a campaign called Comfort Quilts. Have a look.
The terrorist attacks on 9/11 20 years ago touched us and moved us all in different ways. Even though she had no direct connection to it, Debbie Bulantini was moved to action.
Being a former fifth grade teacher, I knew I had to do something to help these kids. Here we are 3,000 miles away from where they are, but it still is in our backyard and it still is affecting us. And what can we do to show our support and love to them?
She kicked around ideas with friends.
I was the school librarian at Huffaker when Debbie was teaching, and she started talking about wanting to do something for the children who lost a parent on 9/11. And so we would just throw ideas back and forth.
And the best idea was something she was already familiar with.
I used to make U.S. history quilts with my students every year. And so that's kind of how the idea came together. We literally were taking pieces of history and sewing them together into one huge united piece of fabric, which became a quilt. And so telling a story. And so I thought if we could do that as well, and there would be pieces from different people from all over the United States, which ended up turning out to be all over the world. We got quilt squares from 18 countries, that we could piece them together and unite together these threads to show warmth and comfort and love to these children.
And that's how Comfort Quilts was born. So she wrote a letter just to friends and family.
This is the Bible that we use to keep everything together and organized for Comfort Quilts. So this is kind of where it all started, and obviously you can see how much has gone into it, but this is the letter that I first started with that I sent to my friends and family. And within 2 weeks, I was hearing back from people I didn't know who they were. And so what my friends and family were doing was sending the letter again, duplicating it, sending it to their friends and family. The doors were just opening. Things just happened. It just took off like wildfire.
People were happy to help.
Then a local TV station picked it up.
On a trip to New York, she was in the Today Show audience when another door opened.
So I was able to talk for 30 seconds on live TV about the project, gave our web address, which we had a web address at that point, now we're like getting big, and had over 10,000 hits in 24 hours.
Lisa Larkin was one of many seamstresses.
I think so many of us didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to give. We didn't know how we could participate. And so this project spearheaded for me a way that I could help to give back.
Nancy O'Brien helped with shipping through her family moving company, O'Brien's Moving and Storage.
We had a place in our warehouse where the quilts would come in, they would get boxed up, and then when there was enough to put on a pallet, they'd palletize it and get it ready for shipping. And then we'd have a truck that was going across country, and we'd place it on that truck, and it would go to a sister facility in New Jersey.
She also helped with the sewing.
When you hear the capacity of the disaster and how many people were affected, and you think, there is no way. Debbie is just, she's kind of crazy thinking that she can get quilts to this many people, and she did it.
I felt so driven. Nothing was going to stop me. This was my purpose in life, and to make sure that these kids were comforted.
And I'd literally have a stack of these quilts, and when you got done with one, you just started on another. That's what we did. I can still remember to the day the feeling when one of those was finished. It's like so much accomplishment, and yet, some heartache too, because you're knowing this is going to a child that lost a parent.
I had seamstresses all over the United States. I had people all over everywhere that were contacting us and sending us quilts.
They pieced together more than 100 quilts in the first 4 months and delivered them to Washington, D.C.
We met with the families and the children. They could all come in, and we had the quilts on display, and they could choose whichever quilt they wanted. And we heard just such sad stories from them.
But getting to know people actually affected fueled this group to continue making quilts for 7 years.
We made over 1,000, made and delivered over 1,000 quilts. So pretty remarkable. They were about 5 feet square, so they were large enough so a child, whatever age, could be wrapped up in love from us.
When this all began, all Debbie knew was that she wanted to help. Now she knows the stories and families behind those who were lost.
Not then, I do now. So I wear a bracelet every day. Jimmy Riches, he died that day. I made it this part without crying, but met his family, gave quilts to his family, and anyhow, yeah, I'm very connected to a lot of people. I have lots of connections now, stories of family members who I've met that lost somebody that day.
And how does she view it all 20 years later?
It has changed my life. I don't have anybody leave the house, my kids or whatever, every day when I see them that I don't tell them that I love them. Because how many people that day walked out the door without saying I love you. But the most important thing is we can't ever forget what happened on 9/11.